don't be kicking yourself going, why didn't I prepare? Why didn't I prepare? This is a lesson. Take it as a lesson, and don't panic, but start thinking about, how am I going to get myself a little bit more prepared? What skills am I going to learn? Hey guys, Sid here. Welcome to TCR. We're kind of in between rainstorms right now, so just kind of getting some fresh air while I can. You know, a lot of people, when all this first started, were talking about, running to the store and getting things to last them for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks initially, I think most people thought. And that was the number I heard kicked around in the very, very beginning, that, 2 weeks and, supply of food and toilet paper, apparently, and things, and it'll be good to go. Well, here we are, a month in, with another couple of weeks at least to go. But here's the thing that I've noticed, and I talked about this a little bit very early on, when this was first kind of all happening, before, we were all quarantined. People that consider themselves to be homesteaders or prepared people, that keep a supply of certain things on hand, that are able to do certain things, can their own food, grow their own food, harvest their own seeds, all those sorts of things. They kind of allow you to, be a little bit more independent, because you're not as freaked out about, what's at the store, what can I buy at the store, how am I going to get X, Y, and Z. You can kind of provide for it yourself a bit, to an extent. Obviously, I don't make toilet paper here. I have other things that I could use as toilet paper if I didn't have that convenience. As far as food goes, pretty good, pretty set. My point is, a lot of people are now talking about, being more prepared for future things. And I can tell you, this week alone, they're talking about, big rains this week, which always means the potential for flooding here. We had something like, 86 earthquakes. Now, granted, in California, that's not a big deal. We get little quakes all the time, but a few of these were, hello. No damage or anything, but just, they kind of get your attention when there's already something like this going on. So it really got me thinking about, you never know what's going to hit or when, and what's going to constitute an emergency or kind of situation for you. So, like, for example, let's break it down. I am an admin for a lot of different, livestock and poultry groups. And I can tell you that in the last 2 weeks, there has been a serious uptick in people wanting to join, because they're panicked, and because they're going, oh God, I should get chickens, because then I'll have meat and eggs. Well, yes, but they don't understand that they don't know how to maybe take care of them, or they haven't researched how long it's going to take for a chicken to lay an egg if they're getting baby chicks, and that they need heat. And, it's just like any other animal that you're going to bring into your home or onto your property. You have to learn what it needs and how to be able to take care of it. You have to think about feed. What are you going to feed it? And I applaud those of you that are, trying to make new efforts, and maybe got yourself some seeds this last couple weeks and started planting some things, or, maybe learned how to make some different things out of canned goods that you could then freeze and make prepared meals for yourself, or how, maybe you started trying to can some things on your own. Kudos to you for, going online, researching it, cracking a book, asking your old Aunt Gertrude to talk you through, old recipes or whatever. Kudos to you for that. And I'm not trying to discourage people from being more independent or being more sustainable or learning any of those skills by any means. Quite the contrary. I think that coming out of all this, the people that always mock those of us that consider ourselves to be a little bit more prepared, and that live this kind of lifestyle, and kind of think of us all as, doomsday preppers where we're running around with tinfoil hats on and bunkers and we're afraid that the aliens are coming. Aliens are the least of my concerns, man. I was in maternity leave in 2010, and the economy was not great right at that time, and things were tight. And so it was nice that we had some things stashed away and prepared, even when we weren't living here on the farm yet, that allowed us to get through that time a little bit more easily. You never know when your company is going to get shut down. I mean, there's a lot of people right now that never ever would have thought that they were going to be sitting at home not having a job to go back to. And that's the situation for a lot of people right now, is they're either furloughed or they're like, gee, I may not be needed for a while, even when things get back to normal or start to get back to normal, because business will be slow. And I was the last one hired at the company. I'm going to be the last one they asked to come back. Whatever the situation is, these are things that you have to be prepared for. And it doesn't take a global event like this for us to start to think about what are some of the things that I can do to be a little bit more prepared. Like I've said a million times, I don't care if you live in an apartment in the middle of downtown city. You can have a few shelves and some extra staples that you keep on hand that you buy when they're on sale when you're at the store. Make it a fun little habit. When you go to the store, once a week, add something to your prepper stash and rotate that stock through. That way it will do two things for you. It will allow you to have a little bit of insurance. That's what prepping is. Prepping is insurance. You have insurance on your car, you have insurance on your house, right? You hope that you never get in a car wreck and that your house never burns to the ground, but you still have insurance in case those things happen. Prepping is the same way. You're hoping that you never need to use those things, but it's nice when they're there. It gives you a little bit of a peace of mind. And I know a lot of people, especially at this point in the game, being cooped up for this long, are starting to feel some anxiety, starting to feel that, a little bit of anxiousness. And the thing to think about is having those things that you're not having to then go out and buy and face the crowds and face whatever is left, because you have stashed ahead of time and prepared ahead of time, you got to choose what things you wanted to have on your shelf. You got to have a variety of things versus, well, the only thing that's left on the shelf is Spam and canned peas. Those two things are something to think about. You get to be a little bit more in charge and choose what's going to be in your stash. Choose what's going to make you feel more prepared in your situation, especially now that you've lived through this. There's things that now occur to you that go, gosh, that makes sense that preppers do that now. I've always kept extra toilet paper and extra paper towels and extra Lysol and extra bleach. I have always done that. I don't know why. They're not particularly things that are always on the prepper lists that you'll see. It was just something that always seemed like a good idea to me. And I was telling Mike about it the other day. I was like, you used to kind of tease me about how much extra we had of that, but because I do a shipment of it and I get a brick of it at a time, it was just easier to kind of have, as one opened, the next one came. And so I always made sure I wasn't hoarding it. I have not bought toilet paper since this whole thing started. I haven't needed to. I'm good, and we're still good for a while. So things like that are keeping me from having to go to the store just to see if they have something right now. It's a no-brainer. These are things that you can't necessarily anticipate, but they're always possibilities, And so it's nice to have a little bit of preparedness going on and, a little bit of skill, know how to do certain things. Mike and I always say that, we're a good team because he does the gardening and I do the animals. If you're by yourself, you're gonna have to be a little bit more of a jack of all trades or become really good buddies with a neighbor who's got a green thumb if you don't. But these are all things that can be learned. These are all skills that can be learned. These are all things that can be honed. I think one of the key things, and I say this a lot, is, even if you live in the big city and not in a small town, you want to have that small town feel. And if people in big cities treated each other the way people in small towns do, I think the world would be a much better place. And I think that we might get to that point. I think that this maybe was a, you know, a hair of a wake-up call for some of us, that maybe needed that reminder of being appreciative, being grateful, thinking about things, and you know, kind of taking stock of that. But this insurance of being prepared, and having, you know, like I said, because I had certain things that I keep a certain amount of, I haven't had to go to the store and try to find it. You know, I see all my friends talking about, I went to a third store today, still couldn't find toilet paper. And I kind of shake my head and I think, you know, I haven't had to do that. I haven't had to go wandering around looking for things because I had everything here, because I was prepared. I think that it's important to keep in mind that, you know, you can only be so prepared. And you can only prepare to the level that you're able to, given your space, your time, and the amount of effort that you're willing to put into it. And that's okay. That's totally okay. You know, you don't have to be, you know, knee deep in supplies and sleeping in your closet because your whole apartment is filled with supplies. But have a game plan. Think about things, you know. And hopefully, this, you know, this really opens up some people's eyes to being a little bit more prepared, thinking about being a little bit more sustainable, having a plan. You know, it's just like when you do fire drills and earthquake drills that we do in Southern California at school when you're a kid. There's a reason you do those drills. It's to prepare you so that it's second nature when the actual thing happens, you don't panic. That's what being a prepper is. It's a drill. So that when the actual thing is happening, I'm not panicked. I take great comfort in that. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, maybe, that I find that comforting, that, you know, it's like, you know, we've practiced for this and this is where we're at now. Cool. Bottom line is, guys, think of prepping like insurance. So in the future, after this is over and you're able to take a minute and prepare yourself and think about some things that make sense after this whole thing is over with, you know, do it. Buy that insurance policy for yourself. It's a good peace of mind to have. And I think that moving forward, you know, I challenge all of you to be a little bit nicer to people, be a little bit kinder to those that you meet and those that cross your path, you know, because a lot of us not having much human contact right now does put it in perspective, you know, and that simple eye contact and smile means a lot to people. And I've still been doing that on my rare trips to the grocery store from far off distances. When I meet someone's eyes, I smile at them, and I, you know, because a lot of us haven't had much human contact. And I do that even when we're not having a pandemic, because I think that that's important. I think, you know, you acknowledge someone's existence, you smile, you let them know, hey, you know, I wish you well, just with that brief exchange. And I think that that's important. I think that, you know, people need that. So bottom line is, guys, be good to each other, be good to yourself. Don't be kicking yourself going, why didn't I prepare? Why didn't I prepare? This is a lesson. Take it as a lesson, and don't panic, but start thinking about, how am I going to get myself a little bit more prepared? What skills am I going to learn? What things make sense in my world to take on, so that the next time something happens, you're not caught as off guard and you're not finding yourself as panicked, and you're able to get through it with a little bit more calm and ease than those that have, you know, not. Don't beat yourself up for not being as prepared. There's always next time. Life gives you a lot of second chances. You just got to reach out and grab one of them. So take care, guys. Be safe, stay healthy. And I'm sorry the video's more on the serious side, but in the next one, I promise to drink more margaritas and crack more jokes. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you get the notifications.